now come to the next part, which is brushless DC motor. As the name suggests, brushless. So we are not using any brushes right here. So permanent magnet is used, and brushless DC motor BLDC. We can rename it as BLDCM motor, and generally by virtually inverting the stator as well as rotor in permanent magnet, DC motor will created. And these motors are actually fed by rectangular AC waveforms, and the advantages is to the removal of brushes, and leading to eliminate many problems associated with the brushes, and it also reduce the cost of the motor. Okay, so we will eliminate the brushes right here. Okay, so the classical DC motors are no doubt good and simple, but inefficient in some ways. Okay, although DC motors possess good control characteristics and rigidness, their performance and applications are inhibited due to sparking and uh, commutations problems. And the permanent magnet brushless DC motor is able to overcome the limitation maintained over and satisfy the requirements of a variable speed drives. Okay, so this brushless DC motor is used in case of journal DC motors. Okay, we have replaced these brushes so that these brushes will cause some different problems. So those problems will be eliminated right here. So this is the advanced version of the simple DC motor. So here we remove the brushes. Okay, and the main part of this brushed motor is the commutator that facilitate collisions of current from the armature conductors and facilitate collections of current from the armature conductor. And the brushes collect currents from the commutator, okay, or commutator. Then this second type is a VLDC motor. So as the name suggests, right here BLDC. So here no brushes and commutators are present in this BLDC motor. So it is the advanced version of the previous one also, and the rotation of the rotor depend upon the accurate position of the stator. So virtually we will change the poles, and virtually we will change the polarity of these windings right here. So detecting by the Hall sensors mounted on the rotor shifted at 60-degree or 120-degree phase shift. So electric commutator or communications used to vary the PWM duty cycle of the speed control using this particular software. So right here we are using the software. So through that software we will change the pulse width modulation, and we will also change the speed of the motor. We can also control the speed of the motor using these softwares. Okay, so the working of this BLDCM motor is that as there is no commutator, the current direction of the commutator on a stator control electronically. So how electronically you can control these speeds with the help of software. You can design the loops that your pole directions of the current will be changed. Okay, so this rotor consists of the permanent magnet, so where as a stator consists of number of winding. So current through the winding possess the magnetic field of forces, and Hall sectors used to determine the position during the commutation. And brushes DC motor require external commutator circuit to rotate the rotor, and this rotor position is very much important because the Hall sensor sense the position of the coil accurately, so it will change the direction. Okay, and the applications of this PMDL DC motor are increasingly being used in a wide spectrum of applications for domestic equipments, automobile information technology equipment, industry we can use, public life applications, transportations, aerospace, defense equipments, tools, toys, visions, and sound equipments. and we can also use for medical and healthcare equipments ranging from microwatt to the megawatts. So this gear motor, as the name suggests, gear. So you can observe right here, these are the gears, so that you will able to understand how we will use this gear motor. So you can see right here, this is called a gear. This is called the gear. So it is an electronic motor. 100 1200 rpm rotation is there, 10 feet torque, and 8 tooth Poisson's driving gear. It has a 4 is to 1 ratio of intermediate gear shift. 32 tooth spar is used for the driver gear. 300 rpm is achieved using this particular gear. 40 feet lb torque will be generated by using this particular gear, and 8 tooth uh, pinion driving gear is also available right here. Okay, then for 4 is to 1 ratio, your output gear shaft is there. This is the uh, big gear right here. So this output gear shaft is there. This is called a shaft. 32 tooth square is there. These are the 32 squares. Okay. Uh, so these are the driven gears. With the help of these particular driven gears, we can rotate the motors, and its RPM is 75, and it is a 14 FP FT-LB torque will be generated using this particular gear. The gear motors are complete motive force system consisting of electronic motors and a reduction gear train integrated into one easy to mount and configure package. So this generally reduce the complexity of the cost of designing and constructing power tools, machines, and appliances calling for high torque at a relatively low speed RPM. Okay, so this is your gear motor, and what is its working principle? So most synchronous AC electronic motors have output ranging from 1200 to 3600 revolution per second, or we can take it in a minute. So then they also have both the normal speed as well as uh, this start speed torque specializations, and the reduction gear trains using a gear motors and designed to reduce the output speed while increasing the torque, and this increase in the torque is also inversely proportional to the reduction in speed, and reduction gearing allows small electronic motor to move large driven loads, although more slowly than larger electronic motors. So this reduction gears consist of a small gear driving a huge gear, and there may be several sets of these instructions gear sets to in reducing the gearbox. And here are the different type of the gear motors. One is a helical gear motor, second one is a shaft mounted gear motor, and third one is a bevel generated motor, and fourth one is worm generated motor. Okay, so these are different type of motors, and what are the feature of these gear motors? So this is the first advantage. It is available in standard gear mechanism, and it is also available in non lubricated metal bearing gear mechanisms, available in planetary gear mechanisms, and provide a speed reductions by the means of gearbox increasing the torque ratios. Okay, and it also provide the protection against the overload and locking rotations, and used precautions for instantaneous reversing and dynamic brakings using speed of detections and control. Okay, the main aim of this gear motor is to develop a gear motors that is everything available on the box, and it is easy to control. Wide range of sizes and speeds are options to operate. Then mounting is easy, and its durability is also there. Okay, and some applications for these gear motors is in the garage door openers, stair we can also use in stair lifts also. Then timber cycle knobs or twisting mechanism, and twisting machines we can use on this particular type of gear motor. Power drills, cake mixtures,